Exploring Stories, SCP-2316, The Field Trip. I do not recognize the bodies in the water. By order of the Overseer Council, the following file describes a Keter-class anomalous cognitohazard and is level 4 out of 2,316 classified files. Unauthorized access is forbidden. Today's SCP touches on horror as well as the influences that supernatural entities can have on a human psyche, also known in this world as cognitohazards. Let's get right into it. Cognitohazard warning. Containment class, Keter. Disruption class, Connect. Risk class, Danger. They've been waiting for a long time. The following file contains images and texts that are carriers for anomalous cognitohazardous influences. You do not recognize the bodies in the water. Due to this, it is imperative that all personnel accessing this file be certified as having a cognitive resistance value of no less than 14.5. Should you fail an automated CRV verification test, please remain calm and do not move. A member of your site's medical staff will be with you shortly. As this article is littered with cognitohazards, throughout the article you will be prompted and required to speak a specific phrase into the adjustable tone variance processor in order to determine whether or not we are under the influence of a cognitohazard. Please repeat the following phrase slowly and clearly into your terminal microphone. I do not recognize the bodies in the water. Verification complete. User CRV is within acceptable limits. This gives us access to the special containment procedures. Under no circumstances are Foundation personnel to approach SCP-2316. Observation of this entity must only be carried out by a remote dummy probe, utilizing video and audio recording equipment. Only those personnel adequately rated for exposure to this cognitohazardous anomaly may review footage and audio of SCP-2316. The lake in which SCP-2316 is located has been quarantined and fenced off. It is to be routinely patrolled by individuals who have not been exposed and have no prior knowledge of its characteristics. You do not recognize the bodies in the water. Individuals who attempt to bypass the enforced quarantine must be apprehended and moved to Site-33 for a full cognitive influence screening. Individuals who come within 50 meters of the lake containing SCP-2316 are to be considered lost. Once again, we receive a prompt to allow us to proceed. Please repeat the following phrase slowly and clearly into your terminal microphone. I do not recognize the bodies in the water. Running adjusted tonal variance processor. Verification complete. User CRV is within acceptable limits. The description is now available to us. SCP-2316 is the designation for an anomalous phenomenon existing within Lake blank, within blank, County blank. SCP-2316 manifests as a group of human corpses floating in a small group at the surface of the water. The identities of these corpses are cognitohazard removed, automated change, unknown, though DNA testing has been inconclusive. There is also a footnote that advises due to the nature of SCP-2316, it is uncertain how many individual corpses exist within this group. The number is currently estimated at around 45, but has been high as an estimated 200 or more. It's at this point within the article that I start noticing that footnotes which are beginning to contain cognitohazards. So normally when you have an article and you have a footnote, it tends to be in a professional format. However, these seem more or less like somebody speaking or an individual trying to get its input through, so whenever that comes up, I'll mention it. While SCP-2316 appears to be an individual instance, it is theorized that it may instead be an entity composed of a collective consciousness. Individual instances of this SCP do not act on their own, but do seem to be able to act collectively as a single unit. Footnote 2. I know who they are. I know their names, each and every one of them. Don't you? The individual instances of SCP-2316 are unrecognizable. Footnote 3. Jeremiah Feynman, Arthur Scott, Denise Clark, Hare. Cognitohazard remove. Automated message. Edit lockout. During this lockout, a quick message flashes up on the screen that says you do not recognize the bodies in the water. We proceed. SCP-2316 hosts a powerful cognitohazardous effect, causing those who have viewed it to be automatically aware of certain parts of its nature, or who are enrolled in the cognitohazard removed, automated message, invalid, to be believed that the individual instances of SCP-2316 are human beings they recognize, typically from their childhood. Footnote 4. They're lying. They know damn well who they are. The cognitohazard is real, but it's just their way of crying for help, of letting people know who they are and who they were. Attempting to come into contact with SCP-2316 instances by way of entering Lake Blank or touching an instance of SCP-2316 will cause other instances to appear. You do not recognize the bodies in the water. You do not recognize the bodies in the water. The additional instances only serve to reinforce and add to the strength of the cognitohazard. Footnote 5. How can you not recognize the bodies in the water? Compelling affected individuals into the lake. Individuals who enter the lake in this way are lost, and to date, none have been recovered. Addendum 23161. Interview. Data expunged. Footnote 6. They don't want to show you, but I will below. You need to see this. They were your friends. Error. Unrecognized user. Please log in to verification complete. User is within acceptable. Let me show you their faces. Begin log between Dr. Harrison and an unknown individual. Dr. Harrison. Did you ever feel compelled to enter the water, like something was pulling you in? What? No, of course not. There's nothing wrong with them. They didn't try and drag me in. I saw them in the water and I went in myself. I needed to see them. I wanted to hear what they were saying. They're my friends, after all. Dr. Harrison. When you entered the water, what did you see? Unknown individual. Faces. My friends' faces. Faces I recognized, some I didn't, but they became more familiar as I saw them. I'd known them my whole life, but there was something wrong with them. Dr. Harrison. Wrong with them? Unknown individual. Like the face of someone you see in a dream, where you can't remember it right and it's kind of a blur. There's something wrong, and the way they were speaking, Dr. Harrison cuts him off. Speaking? No, that's impossible. They're simply not moving their mouths, but I could hear them in my brain, asking for help. They told me who they were. They told me who they were, and they told me that you... Dr. Harrison stops him. Enough of that. You're clearly succumbing to the cognitohazard. We need to get you medical attention. Agent, if you would just follow... Get your hands off me. I know all of their names, Harrison. I heard them speaking to me. Every single one of them. All it takes is one person to see them and tell people, and they'll know what you've been trying to hide. Birchwood High School, class of... Subdue him. Get him out of here. Take him to get amnetics and turn that goddamn recorder off now. End log. Next, we have Addendum 2316.2 quickly flash up on the screen, and it says, You don't have a lot of time. You'll need to get away quickly. Go back to the lake. Go into the water and look into their eyes. It's your friends, your classmates. You took the trip to the lake in the fall of '75 together when you were young. Don't you remember? Look into their eyes. I know you can hear them talking to you, just like they talk to me. Don't let them tell you it's just a cognitohazard. This was their fault. They caused this. We're all just innocent kids, don't you remember? And you just got away. You and I? The rest of them are at the bottom of the lake waiting for us. And you and I just got away. They're waiting for us to go back to them, to be whole together. They want us to know. They want us to remember. Remember the fall of '75, the year we were supposed to graduate? Don't let them make you forget. They're calling to you. Can't you hear them? Can't you hear them? Can't you hear them? Can't you hear them? Audio turns off. At this point, we receive another cognitohazard warning requiring us to speak into our microphone. Please repeat the following phrase slowly and clearly into your terminal microphone. I do not recognize the bodies in the water. Running adjusted tonal variance processor. Verification incomplete. User CRV is not within acceptable limits. User CRV influenced by active cognitohazards. Please stay still. A member of your site's medical staff will be with you shortly. Your terminal has been locked out. And that brings us to the end of our story for today. That being said, today's SCP, to summarize it for you, is you do not recognize the bodies in the water. Thank you so much for listening. If you still are, please consider subscribing. We've just hit 2,500. We're looking to hit 5,000 now. The support has been amazing. Once again, please consider liking, subscribing, commenting, and have a great rest of your night.